ครับก็ welcome to tech2thai.com นะครับ we are an English language website on technology in Thailand นะครับ today we have a special guest นะครับ the CEO of Zipmix Thailand นะครับ Dr. อัครราชยิ้มวิไลนะครับ he will talk about the latest development of Zipmix here in Thailand and other countries. So welcome ครับ Dr. อัครราชครับ to tech2thai.com. Please talk about your latest success on fundraising for Zipmix and what is the business model you are working on ครับ
So the first part of the question is regarding cap raising. So we did a capital raising round. It was part of the pre-Series A round, and we managed to raise $6 million from VCs, also from other companies in the digital assets and cryptocurrency industry, as well as other angel investors that we have. And it's pretty much the third round that we have invested. We had the seed round, which was about 2 years ago when we started the company. And then we had a pre-Series A where we raised $3 million. And now we just closed another round of investment for $6 million. And this will lead us towards a Series A of investment, roughly to be around the end of Q2 and Q3 of this year. And so yeah, we have a very successful raise. The funds the capital that we have raised will be used to scale the company towards Series A, meaning hiring more talented individuals, strengthening our systems, making a much more secure and robust system, as well as strengthening our products that we have. And finally, in order to enhance the customer experience for our customers. And the business model essentially is we are a digital assets exchange. We are regulated and licensed in many jurisdictions. We're currently operating in 4 markets, which is Australia, Thailand, Singapore, and Indonesia. With Australia, we are regulated and under regulatory scrutiny by Austrac, who are the anti-money laundering agency. In Indonesia, we're currently working with BPPT. BPPT is the regulatory body over in Indonesia, and we are currently working to acquire a license by the middle of this year. In Singapore, we work with the Monetary Authority of Singapore, or MAS for short, and we should be looking to acquire that license in the middle of this year as well. In Thailand, we are licensed and regulated by the Ministry of Finance. We're regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission of Thailand, which is SEC. We have been licensed since the beginning of last year. We started operating around Q2 of last year. And we are a digital assets exchange, but however, we believe that digital asset is a new asset class, and there are many products and services built around this industry. So what we're looking towards is to evolving into a digital bank that will provide a bridge towards to traditional investors and traditional customers into this world of digital finance by allowing them to exchange their current fiat currencies or national currencies, such as Thai baht, Singapore dollars, US dollars, Australian dollars, and Indonesian rupiah. And in order to exchange that into Bitcoin, Ethereum, for example, and so forth, and other digital assets. And in the future as well, we are looking to adopt also stable coins, which will be issued out by national governments, such as the digital yuan and DM, which is part of the Facebook group. And therefore, becoming a digital asset bank, you have to have a lot of other products and services other than just exchanging one product to another. So that's why we also have a program, a product called the Zip Up program, where customers can deposit their digital assets with us, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and they can earn a return on that. And the return they earn ranges between 6 to 10% per annum. And they get these bonuses, these returns every single day. So that product has been immensely successful. We now currently have an AUM of $25 million after 3 months of product launch. Our third product that we have is a Zipmix token, which essentially is sort of a membership token for the Zipmix ecosystem, where if you hold a certain amount of Zipmix tokens, you will get higher returns on ZipUp, and you also get other perks as well. So recently we just had a campaign where, you know, the top traders of Zipmix and who holds a Zipmix token, we basically sent a chef over to their house to prepare an omakase dinner for them. So it's part of a lifestyle program that we have to reward our customers and our members of the Zipmix ecosystem.
So that's quite a lot, Dr. Akrab. But I would like to, for those who are new to Zipmix or to, you know, to even Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, and in general, they are not yet familiar with digital assets. So I'd like you to give a basic explanation. What is the differences between digital assets and more familiar financial assets or physical assets, please?
They're still assets. So everything is an asset. Even the car you buy, the house you buy, even some Thai people buy a lot of gold. That's still an asset. You know, other people buy. Thai people love to buy iPhone. iPhone is an asset to them. So, but what is what makes a digital asset and traditional asset different is that they're an investment class asset. So people invest into them with the hope of getting a return. So making their money work by investing in assets rather than keeping it in cash. So if you keep your money in US dollar or Thai baht, it will devalue every single year because of inflation. And your Thai baht, your USD is getting worth less and less and less. 10 years ago, a bowl of noodle maybe cost 30 baht, but now a bowl of noodle is 45 to 50 baht. You know, that's about a 70% increase, and it means that your currency is being devalued. So how do you make your cash reserves or the cash that you have to get a better return, to generate a better return? You put them in investable assets. So some people put them into gold, and the gold price has gone up, you know, since last year. Some people buy stocks. Some people buy, in Thailand, they buy PTT stocks, or they may buy CP stocks, or they may buy energy stocks, or anything else. Some people buy bonds, government bonds, and then they get a 1.5% per year, things like that, if they want to be safe. Now, digital assets, it's on the riskier end of that spectrum. It's higher risk, but it's higher return as well. So how is investing in Bitcoin different from investing in gold per se?
Stocks or provident funds or?
No, there's no difference. Actually, some stocks is even more riskier than digital assets. Some stock, especially in Thailand, go up 400, 500%, and then they come back down 400, 500%. It's also very risky. We see the technology stock Delta. Delta has gone up by 400, 500%, simply because there is a very low amount of free float. There's not a lot of Delta out there. Similar to Bitcoin, there's only 21 million Bitcoin in the world. So there is an issue of supply. That's why when there's a limited supply and the demand increase, the price will increase. It's pretty basic economics. Now, what is different between traditional and digital assets is that people in my age group, or in their early 20s or maybe early 30s, they don't buy gold anymore. I don't know any of my colleagues or customers who still go and buy gold. It's to them, it's an outdated asset class, and they feel that it's not easy to liquidate. There are a lot of fees involved. When you want to sell your gold, you have to pay the fee to the gold shop, things like that. You cannot even buy gold on your phone. You can buy gold futures, but you can't buy gold. But with Bitcoin and the power of blockchain technology, you can buy Bitcoin, and then you can store it in your home safely as well. It's very much the same characteristic. as gold. There's a limited supply out there. And that's why we're beginning to see that people are now buying lots of Bitcoin, because if they want to buy, it's very low barrier to entry. You can do it in your home. You can send a Bitcoin to your friend for a very, very low fee. You can send it to your friend in Africa or in Brazil, very cheap. Yeah. So there is, and the most important part is there is no need for that middleman, that party like a bank who process the payment for you. If I want to transfer my Bitcoin to a colleague in America, I can do it straight away. He just gives me a QR code or an address, and then I send it to him, and I pay very small fees, and it will arrive within the hour. Now, if I transfer real money, it may take 4 to 5 days to arrive. So that's why we're seeing this emergence of digital assets built on blockchain technology as well.
So I understand that you mentioned about the risk reward trade between digital assets and the traditional assets. You mentioned that. And you mentioned about the generational preference. The younger generations prefer, say I'm in the 50s, so I'm not quite familiar with Bitcoin. And I still have questions about the riskiness of that. I understand that now one Bitcoin is what, 1 million baht something, right? And you can buy,
about 1 million baht.
Part of it, however you do that. So you like to say more a little bit. You said some stock also quite risky. You mentioned that. And
so I used to work in securities brokerage, and in Thailand it's the Barisak Laksap. So I see many. I worked in a brokerage for 7 years, and I've seen many stocks go up, go down. Ever since maybe in your days, if you're in the 50s, if you trade stocks before, you probably remember picnic stock or world gas stock.
Quite bad.
Go up a lot and go down a lot as well. Actually, a lot more volatile. And a lot of the stocks in Thailand as well, the PE ratio, meaning the price per earning ratio, is very high. It means the value of the stock is being traded 25 times to 30 times its real value. So,
and how you measure that for Bitcoin and the like? You talk about PE ratio for stock, PE measurement. You have any for digital assets?
For digital assets, so let's say Bitcoin, every 4 years, they do this thing called halving. So new Bitcoins that come into the system gets halved. It gets reduced by half every 4 years. So there is less supply out there.
You
there
mean the minting? The minting of the new Bitcoin.
Yes. Every 4 years, it gets less and less and less and less. So where are people going to buy the Bitcoin? Because you can no longer mint it or mine it anymore. The only way for you to buy it is on a market. And when you have a market, there is now a market price for it. It's now determined by demand and supply purely, which if you consider, very, very pure economics, demand and supply is pretty much the fundamental and principle of every single, economy in the world, or any single business. And it's also a product, and it's a product if it's in demand, and there's less of it, then the price would increase. Or if there's a lot of supply for it, but the demand is less, there is less, the price will go down. That's how a market is created. A market is created when a buyer and seller is willing to pay someone for a certain price. And Bitcoin has been around for 10, 11 years. Now that the market, what we have called, is now maturing to the point that even institutions such as Grayscale, PayPal, Goldman Sachs have now started to enter into this market because it's now mature enough.
And Dr. Akharat, you also have fundamental analysis and technical analysis, as in stocks, when you investing in Bitcoin and the like.
Same. So technical analysis is the same. We always use, use the relative strength index, RSI, you use the moving average, the MACD, the EMA, everything applies. Everything that in terms of technicals that apply to stock trading also apply to cryptocurrency trading, also apply. In terms of fundamental, is different. The fundamental of a company is linked towards the performance of the company.
Yes.
So
earnings.
the price should reflect the earnings. But even sometimes in some stocks, the earnings don't reflect. The price doesn't really reflect the earnings as much because people believe, oh, it's okay. They have a new project in 3 years, it's gonna continue to go up as well. For example, in America, Tesla is currently value very high. It's performing, it's earning, but nowhere near at the price it's being traded at. So essentially, it's also about market psychology. It's the market demand and market supply. A lot of money has been printed during the past 10 years. A lot of money, about $10 trillion. And when people have $10 trillion, the US dollar devalues. Your $1 becomes less. So where are you going to put that $1? You will put it into other assets such as gold, such as stocks, and such as Bitcoin or digital asset, which is why we've seen this fund flow, this capital flow from the traditional market towards the digital asset market. So that's the fundamental.
So personally, I guess you believe that it's only a matter of time before more and more investor, older or younger, accept cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and the like. It's only a matter of time, right?
Well, they've already accepted it. I mean, PayPal is the biggest payment gateway in the world, the biggest, and they have already accepted cryptocurrency. I do not know what other indicator can now show that the world has not accepted it. It's now legal in Thailand, it's legal in Japan, it's legal in America. So this whole idea of thinking that it's still illegal or it's not accepted is gone. I think it's now accepted. But the question is, when will it be adopted? When will it be used as part of daily life? Okay. I think adoption takes time.
I see. Before going to that, in your opinion, what's the outlook? So now we still in the middle of the pandemic, COVID-19, in the second year. What is the outlook for digital asset investment for this year? I mean, concerning Thai and foreign investor for your platform.
So 4 years ago, before we had Zipmix, and I was trading digital assets, we see that the market back then was driven by normal people. We call it a retail customer, retail investor. Because back then there was no law, no regulation, and no infrastructure in place. Now, 4 years later towards now, there is a law, especially in Thailand, there's a law, there's regulations, regulated by SEC, America as well. There is now infrastructure for large companies, for large banks to come in and buy and sell Bitcoin. There is now infrastructure ready for that. So I feel now with the right regulation in place, with the current infrastructure in place, we are now very well positioned for a huge capital flow towards Bitcoin. So a lot of institutional interest will come in here. Even I believe the former Prime Minister of Canada, he says they should have some reserve into Bitcoin, and we're beginning to see a lot of governments and institutional interest come into this space. What it means for Zipmix as a company is that we are now servicing customers who are moving from traditional assets towards digital assets. And these customers are no longer just the normal, customer or high net worth investors. There are large companies, large institutions that want exposure into digital assets and Bitcoin in particular. And now what it means for Zipmix is that we are currently building bridges so that these traditional companies can cross over as well as our normal customers, retail investors, to cross over into the world of digital assets safely, securely, and efficiently.
So not only retail, but institutional government interest now growing.
Yes, definitely.
This time. And you mentioned earlier that your Zipmix platforms, number one, digital banking, number two, the stable coins you mentioned, number three, about saving products, and number four, tokens. You seem to have provided some solutions to earlier concerns, like about volatility of cryptocurrency. Maybe I go a little bit into the stable coin. You talk about digital yuan and maybe digital baht. Later on, how that fit into the new model of this kind of asset, digital versus traditional.
It's just digitizing a physical asset towards to making it a digital one. So digital yuan is still yuan.
Yes.
It's still yuan, but it's just become digital. It's now being built on it's the digital form of yuan. There is no difference in that, and that but it's because it's built on a private blockchain by the Chinese government. They can now track and see exactly how much money is in circulation, exactly who has this much money and how much they spend. It's we're now seeing a basically essentially a digitization of a physical asset. And so in Thailand, currently, when you go buy a house or a condominium or whatever, you have to go to the land department, and you have a title deed. At the back of the title deed, you have the register. Mr. A transfer to Mr. B, Mr. B then sold Mr. C, Mr. C then sell to Mr. D. It's essentially a ledger. It's a history of transaction, and that is what blockchain is. So why don't they use the technology of blockchain and essentially record this on digital, so you don't have to waste a day and 1 day or half a day at the land department. This can be done in 10 minutes.
Yes.
So whether you can and then when you transfer a land and you have to pay 2%, right? If I remember in Thailand,
the fee.
You have to of the fee. Instead of you paying with Thai baht, why don't you pay with digital Thai baht?
Digital baht in
exactly
form of Thai baht for the fee.
Yes, and then the government know exactly every single by the hour. They know exactly how much fee is paid every single hour. They can track it, they can monitor it, and it will help government function a lot more efficiently and effectively, and even economically. You may not need to have many civil, like 100 civil servants sitting in the land department doing nothing. You may not need anymore. You only need maybe about 10 people. So it helps reduce the cost to the government. And if you help reduce the cost of the government, you reduce the tax on the people. And if you reduce tax on people, they pay less tax for a much more efficient and effective government.
So you're saying this technology will make land transaction easier, more convenient, faster.
Just for land, but so many other things as well can apply.
And my question is how this, just what you mentioned in comparison to the cryptocurrency, is there any complementary or is that two different things or they work together?
They work together.
Baht and digital yuan versus Bitcoin, etc.
They work together. So let's say we have a Chinese tourist that come to Thailand and he has digital yuan. He want to exchange into digital baht, but he go
condo
to
in Thailand
maybe even easier. He walk into 7-Eleven. But he have digital yuan. He want to pay, but 7-Eleven don't want digital yuan. They want digital baht. Someone has to exchange for them. And that's where Zipmix can come in. We can exchange that digital yuan into digital baht. So the customer will always doesn't have to even exchange. We do it for them. 7-Eleven get their Thai baht.
So when you're going to do that, Are you starting?
Which just waiting for the Bank of Thailand and the rules and regulations to come in place. I'm expecting maybe in about 2 to 3 years, but it's happening. These sort of infrastructure is in place, and we're just waiting for adoption.
I see. So quite clear that it's not only the cryptocurrency, but we can also digitalize the Thai baht, the Japanese yen, or the Chinese yuan, etc., and work together with the cryptocurrency. And we have about 10 minutes left. The next one is a bit on, you talk about as a saving vehicle. We can go to your platform and do our saving for the future.
Yeah. So if you have,
Shortly,
if you have digital assets such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, or you have the USDT, which is like a digital dollar, you provide it to Zipmix, and what Zipmix will do is will provide you a return on that. So Bitcoin is currently at around 6%, Ethereum is about 6%, USDT is about 10%, and we're able to provide this to our customers constantly every single day. Because if you remember, maybe 20 to 30 years ago, if you put Thai baht in a bank, you used to get 10% interest rate.
But not now.
Before, but not now, because of inflation as well, and because of the bank. The digital currency and digital asset is just beginning. So you are seeing these returns. Now, I do believe in the future, the rate will drop. Maybe it will drop to the same rate as the bank now, 1 to 2%. But we are now in the early stage of the digital currency. And so there is a lot of demand for it. And therefore, the yield, the return for it is high, just like the Thai baht was 30 years ago.
I see. And my next question, you mentioned digital banking. So how your platform work on this digital banking thing?
So essentially, when a customer digitizes themselves and they buy the Bitcoin or USDT, what they can do is that now they have, it's like a savings. They leave it on Zipmix and they get a return every single day. But what if they want to spend it? So this is the project we're working on, and there will be a new product coming out called Zip Pay. So you can use your tokens to pay for things. You can go to 7-Eleven, you can go to major Cineplex, you can go to KFC, and you can use your digital currency to buy and sell things. That's one. And eventually, what we'll be moving into towards the end of this year and towards next year is you can also lend out your digital asset to other customers. So we are working on a product called Zip Lend, where you can lend.
You mean
your
peer lending,
assets
sort of?
to other people. Peer, exactly.
I see. And the last one before we running out of time, the token. So how your platform going to work on the tokens, and how soon that can be practical?
Well, we already have we've already had the token for about 2 months. So we started, we had the token in Singapore, Indonesia, before Thailand. And what the token does is it's similar to like a membership program. So if you have a certain amount of the token, you will get benefits such as higher return on your Zip app. For example, you will also get things like when you pay for things, we can reward you with a loyalty points. Just the same way that Grab does or Agoda does. You get loyalty points. You can earn discounts on our partner products, for example, and you can also get cashbacks if you pay things, using the Zipmix token. So we're working on the payments part, but currently the token that we have, it's live, it's been traded. It's since we launched it 2 months ago, the value of the token of the coin has gone up by 50%. So there has been a lot of interest and demand for this product and for our currency. And we do believe that more and more people will be purchasing the Zipmix token in order to enjoy the benefit of the Zipmix ecosystem. And we will have a lot more coming out in the future.
Okay. So last but not least, so Zipmix, is it a Thai startup or is it a foreign one, or who are the major investors?
It's a joint startup between I would say Thailand and Singapore.
Yes.
It was born out of Thailand because of myself.
Yes.
I partnered up with a Singaporean entrepreneur
Yes.
because we needed the technology to bring this product alive. But we also know that Thailand is a big market, and because of the rules and regulation come up by SEC, gives it a very, very good platform for long-term growth. So Zipmix essentially is a Thai startup, and we have received funding from many investors around the world.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Dr. Akara, thank you for your time and hope to talk to you again in the near future.
Thank you ครับ Thank you ครับ
Bye bye ครับ so take two
บ๊ายบาย
time
ครับ
have to say goodbye see you again
บ๊ายบายครับ See you again